Dr. Wittman, you wanted to make a brief comment additionally to what you said.
You're very kind, Mr. Chairman, because that is the passage which I left out, but which from the machine room, so to speak, the engine compartment, I find also very important. As mentioned before, the process is perhaps as important as the result. So I think, although the inclusive and participatory approach and interactive process with the broader public launched by the SecGen and the activity of the group of experts can loosen the ground, as it were, prepare consensus, fuel public debate and interest in NATO, get the strategic community involved, provide transparency and induce member states to clarify their positions and show the color of their cards. This will not replace, in my mind, the political work governments must do to create or re-establish the consensus on the central issues. That cannot be done by informal groups and seminars, and it should not be left to the drafting and negotiation process. Work on a draft cannot create political unity on highly controversial issues. In 1990-91, and Ambassador von Plötz may remember it, there were so-called NAC brainstormings on individual key issues, and they developed the consensus to be reflected in the strategic concept. I could imagine a similar procedure prior to the draft negotiations proper. Candidates would be NATO's future role, regional or global, the transatlantic relationship and NATO-EU complementarity, Article 5, expeditionary focus reassurance, the relationship with Russia, structured affiliations with other institutions, and deterrence, nuclear strategy, arms control. And some of these issues are so fundamental and the difference is so significant among allies that I could imagine NAC debates at state secretary or even ministerial level which would establish the consensus then to be codified in the strategic concept. And three questions on the process. What will the interested public say when necessarily the outside doors will be closed for the negotiation phase at the latest, and public participation that was so strongly stimulated be cut off? Second, will the negotiation phase in the SecGen's roadmap between the end of the summer and the Lisbon summit provide sufficient time? For the 99th strategic concept, more than a dozen drafts evolved, and I am sure nations will insist on their due. Finally, will the new strategic concept be a forward-oriented document providing genuine strategic guidance? Experience shows that a wholly innovative process is only possible in a truly revolutionarily new situation as in 1990-91. Normally, theory follows reality. Concepts come after the events. Thus, the 99th strategic concept mainly was a codification of alliance policy as it had developed in the preceding period. However, today there is so much uncertainty about global and regional security and such disunity about central topics that the new strategic concept should again be as programmatic and forward-leaning as achievable. And finally, although a clean sheet approach is preferable to just editing the excellent strategic concept, we should not throw everything overboard. Much from the present strategic concept can be carried over into the new one. And remember, I would call it a strategy of protection and comprehensive cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew?
Just 2 minutes. I wanted to speak to something that Janusz raised, which I think is very important and ties to what I think is the most important task that we have. That is to, when I say rebalance, what I mean is restore a sense of allied solidarity, which I think if you look at Afghanistan, we have forfeited some of that. And we can revisit what went wrong with the campaign and the operations in the war. But I keep coming back to one issue. We will be looking at similar crises on a global scale down the line. One is already unfolding. We're actually, surprisingly, if you look at Pew Global Attitudes results, the perceptions of the public opinion in Europe, say Germany, is actually running ahead of that of the United States when it comes to nuclear-armed Iran. How to approach the problem, that's a different question, but there is enough of a public base there. And my point is that we should find a way even on that mission in Afghanistan, to get away from the culture that differentiates us as allies, because it has very practical implications for the military profession. It divides NATO into an organization where some nations fight and others don't. It's corrosive for the military culture and mil-to-mil relations. It seeps into the families of the soldiers, and through that into the ethos of political debates, and ultimately to congressional and parliamentary levels. I think that is very, very corrosive. Notwithstanding what anybody can say on counterinsurgency strategy, this, McKernan was right or McChrystal was right. This is what I would like to get away with, and I hope that stays at the center of the debate. Restoring allied solidarity, coming up with a sense of shared threat perception so we don't repeat that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I think that was a good final comment. And I think even given different levels of ambitions, we can expect the same level of solidarity on the ground and also in our political thinking. Let me thank the participants here, the speakers here, and you. I think that has been an extremely important, fruitful debate. I would not like to finish this first session without again thanking our partners. Running an independent think tank is not an easy thing. It would not work without partners, including corporate partners. And I would like again to thank our partners, Raytheon, Orange, of course the US Embassy, which is not a corporate partner, but which has provided substantial support. The Polish-American Freedom Foundation, again in the private sector, but in the non-profit sector, and from the profit sector, LEADEX, that has been a good partner for a long time. I hope I have not. I have mentioned all our partners. Thank you very much for your contributions, and we look forward to continuing this partnership. And now it's time for lunch. Please stay with us. Also after lunch, the time of highlights is not over at this conference. There will be even more highlights, additional highlights after lunch. Thank you very much.